Welcome to today's Explainer. We are running through a highly dynamic global intelligence briefing today, covering all the major developments from August 23rd and 24th, 2026. This isn't just a lecture, though. Get ready to actually test your knowledge as we move through some absolutely fascinating material.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our quick roadmap for today's three distinct themes. First up, Indian innovation and culture. Second, global defense and alliances. And third, advancements in global health. Section 1, Indian innovation and culture. Tech meets tradition. We're going to look at the really beautiful contrast here between cutting-edge agricultural tech and massive traditional sporting events in India.
So let's kick things off with a little quiz. Which institute developed India's very first digital soil texture map? Think about it for a second. Lock in your answer. This is quite literally a massive leap forward for agricultural science. So let's see if you got it right.
And the definitive answer is ICARNBSSLNUP. Yeah, I know, that is quite the acronym, but it actually stands for the National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning. This is a premier institute operating under the Indian Council of Agricultural Research. They've got a super rich history, established way back in 1976, and they're headquartered in Nagpur, Maharashtra, with regional centers spread all over the country.
The methodology here is just fascinating. It's like a giant puzzle. They didn't just rely on one single modern tool. Instead, they brilliantly layered highly advanced modern technology. We're talking remote sensing, high-resolution satellite imagery, and of course, artificial intelligence, over foundational data, like historical soil profiles and traditional field observations. By taking that traditional fieldwork and supercharging it with modern AI, they've mapped India's soil in a way that was literally never before possible. A real game changer.
All right, shifting geographically down to Kerala, let's take a look at a massive cultural touchstone. Next question for you. At which lake was the 72nd Nehru Trophy boat race held? This is honestly one of the most vibrant cultural and sporting festivals in the entire world. Got your guess?
If you guessed Punamana Lake, you hit the nail on the head. Located in Alappuzha, Kerala, this absolutely gorgeous body of water sets the stage for a staggering display of teamwork and endurance. I mean, this event is a massive draw, pulling in thousands of spectators and tourists who just pack the banks to witness the whole spectacle.
The competition here is incredibly fierce. We are talking razor-thin margins of victory. As you can see, Aromal Chundan took that coveted first-place spot, securing the win with a blistering time of 4 minutes, 23 seconds, and 328 milliseconds. They just barely managed to edge out Nadubagom Chundan, who took second, and Viyapuram Chundan coming in a close third.
Now, to truly wrap your mind around the sheer scale of this festival, I want you to just consider the number 71. That is the total number of boats that competed in this wildly intense race. And within that massive fleet, there were 22 traditional snake boats. Just imagine the coordination and raw power required to propel even one of those traditional boats, let alone navigating through a crowded field of 71 competitors. It's wild.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, Global Defense and Alliances, Strategic Maneuvers. Here, we'll be taking a strictly neutral look at recent shifts in military partnerships and hardware movements.
Let's pivot straight into aerospace defense. Next, quiz question. Exercise Udara Shakti 2026 was conducted by which country? Think about recent strategic defense partnerships developing in the Indo-Pacific region.
The answer is Malaysia. The Indian Air Force just recently concluded its active participation in this major bilateral exercise, which was hosted by and conducted in cooperation with the Royal Malaysian Air Force.
And this brilliantly illustrates the depth and complexity of modern military alliances. Because Exercise Udara Shakti wasn't just some simple flyover, right? These forces engaged in high-level combat sorties, complex joint tactical maneuvers, and highly advanced air combat tactics. They also conducted what's known as subject matter expert exchanges, allowing personnel to share some really deep technical knowledge. All of these components work together to strengthen operational cooperation and strategic defense partnerships in the highly critical Indo-Pacific region.
Let's move to a somewhat more intense geopolitical development regarding military hardware. See if you can identify the origin of this specific missile system. KN-30 is a ballistic missile developed by which country?
The KN-30 was developed by North Korea.
This particular system is currently making news because, according to recent reports from Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Agency, known as HER, Russia has reportedly received these North Korean KN-30 ballistic missiles for the very first time.
Let's break down the technical specs of this hardware so we understand exactly what we're looking at here. The KN-30 is actually the Western designation for a system that North Korea calls the Hwasong-11C. It is a short-range ballistic missile, or SRBM. Crucially, it's powered by a solid propellant engine. This is important because solid propellants generally allow for much faster launch preparation compared to liquid fuels. Additionally, it's launched from a mobile ground-based system, which makes it highly maneuverable in the field.
Okay, on to our final segment, Section 3, Advancements in Global Health, Combating Outbreaks. Here we're looking at a critical micronarrative of global health and ultimately scientific hope. So I've got one final critical medical question for you, and this one carries urgent, real-world implications right at this very moment. The Ervebo vaccine is primarily used to protect against which disease? The answer is the Ebola virus disease. Specifically, this vaccine is licensed to protect against the disease caused by the Zaire Ebola virus species. It's been approved for use in individuals who are 1 year of age and older.
Now, to really put the scale of the immediate public health response into perspective, look at this number, 16,000. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has recently received more than 16,000 doses of this vaccine manufactured by Merck. This massive deployment is a direct, urgent response to a severe, active Ebola outbreak currently happening in the region.
The biotechnology making this possible is honestly brilliant. Ervebo is a single-dose, live-attenuated recombinant vaccine. Basically, scientists genetically modified a harmless vector virus, in this case, a weakened vesicular stomatitis virus, or VSV, to safely carry just one single surface protein from the Zaire Ebola virus. So the crucial point is, because it only contains that one isolated protein, it is biologically impossible for the vaccine to actually cause Ebola in the patient. It acts purely as a highly specific training mechanism for the immune system.
Wow, we have covered a staggering breadth of human endeavor today, haven't we? We've gone all the way from the synthesis of artificial intelligence in traditional agriculture in India's soil mapping, to the razor-thin margins of Kerala's boat races, across to the tracking of solid propellant ballistic missiles, and finally down to the genetic modification of virus vectors saving lives in the Congo. So, here's the question I want to leave you with today. From AI-mapped soil to modified virus vectors, how will these hyper-specific innovations interlock to shape our global future? Thanks so much for focusing in with me today.